website right now and download my free course on alternate picking mastery. It contains 5 essential exercises that will take you to alternate picking mastery faster than you can imagine. And then I've included my method of how to lay out a practice plan in just 1 to 2 minutes that will absolutely boost your results like nothing you ever tried before. So go download it right now. It's free. Hey, should you practice a little each day or a lot sometimes and then, take breaks? Should you practice like 30 minutes a day or an hour each day? Or is it more important to really go all in and practice like 6 hours a day for a week? Right? What is most effective? And the answer is both, because it depends on what you're practicing. And some things actually benefit from both. What I suggest you do is try and say, okay, if there's something I need to remember, then it's a very good idea to practice it a little each day with spaced repetition, we call it, right? And you can even practice it multiple times a day with hours in between. So let's say you're trying to learn or just ingrain the scale shapes of the minor pentatonic or whatever. Then it's a good idea to see if you can remember them from yesterday. Maybe see if you can do it without referring to your notes or any charts or anything. And then if you can't, you look at the charts, but you have to have that effort of try to remember it, right? Because that's what tells the brain that you need this information stored in your long-term memory. If you're frustrated, that's good, because that's the sure sign that you need it, right? And then you look at the charts, you play it up and down, and as soon as you got it in your short-term memory and you've learned it and you can remember it, you just, away with it. Don't look at it anymore. It's a waste of time. Why would you, try to recircle what's in your short-term memory? You don't become any better at that. So what you do is you forget it as soon as you can. A couple of hours goes by, lunch break, try to remember the 5 scale shapes again, right? You might play them, you might jot them down on a piece of paper with little dots, as I used to do, and then forget about them. Forget, learn and forget as many times as you possibly can. You can do it 8 times a day, just for 2 minutes each time, right? With a lot of breaks in between. And a little each day. All the time. That's really so beneficial when it comes to memorizing stuff. Also with music theory, anything you can use for this, spaced repetition. When it comes to developing technique, motorical skills of doing something with your hands and fingers, or fretting a chord, the same thing applies, because some of it is memory, right? Some of it for the brain. Any technique or chord you're trying to do is also a shape or is muscle memory. So the same thing applies, but what's more important when it comes to developing physical skills, just imagine, this is the analogy I always use, just imagine you want to be very good at basketball and put that ball through the hoop, or you're playing darts and you want to hit the bullseye every single time. Then how good would you become if you did it 10 times one day? You tried 10 times, or even 100. Let's say you tried 100 times and then you left it. Then you did that the next day, and then you left it. The brain is going to say, why are we doing this? This is not important to you, first of all. You're only doing it 10 or 100 times a day. It takes you like 20 minutes. So you get incrementally better, but it's like it takes so long that you're never going to get to any level of mastery, that's for sure. So with that motorical thing, you need to, when you have the resources, it's no point practicing if you're totally wasted and you're tired and your brain's just shutting down. Or you're getting worse. That's a sure sign that you are either overloaded when you practice or that you're tired. And you need to stop, recuperate, sleep, whatever, get back to it. Take a break. But if you stand there trying to put the ball, I need 5,000 of these, right, in one session. I need high numbers. You need to stand there and show yourself and your whole body that this is really important, and you learn from each mistake you make. That's not the case on the guitar. You don't make mistakes when you practice here. Only in the beginning, and then once you have the pattern up, whether it be chords, rhythm, picking, whatever it is, once you can do it right slowly, you don't make mistakes anymore, because then you're just practicing making mistakes, which is pretty stupid, right? But when it comes to this, or kicking a soccer ball, you need to make mistakes, because you can't get it right every single time, because you've got something called gravity and stuff you can't scale. You can't just do it slowly and get it right every time, right? It doesn't happen, but you can on a guitar. But so what happens when you do that when you practice something physical like that, you won't become a master by doing it a little each day. I think we can agree on that. 103 throws every day, it's not going to happen. You need to have intensity, and that's the key. Intensity is practicing a lot with a lot of focus, which is exhausting, right? But if you're passionate about what you're doing, it's not exhausting, or it is, but you can really go on for a long time, right? So, and that's both on the small scale when it comes to the practice session in itself, right? You stay there, you keep on going as long as you learn and you have that feeling of progression, right? Of getting better and having the energy to focus. You just keep on keeping on all the time for as long as you possibly can. And in one day, if you can, a Saturday, a Sunday where you're alone, you take a break every time you're exhausted, you focus on something completely different, and then you get right back into it. So you can get in like 8, 10 hours, 6 hours on one day of practicing the same thing with total focus, right? Or the same two things, going back and forth between something that is in family with each other, right? So it looks the same. Like you're practicing picking, and then you have a couple of exercises that's almost identical, but that is practicing the same thing all day, because that sends such a clear signal. It's like an atomic bomb in your brain, right? Boom, with repetitions, like 10,000 repetitions in a day of just doing the same thing over and over again. And then you do it for like 30 minutes each day the rest of the week, which is also important for muscle memory, because every time you stop practicing, the brain is going to say, oh, he doesn't need that anymore. Let's get rid of that in the brain, right? So, because it won't store anything that you don't really need. And practicing picking, much of the techniques on a guitar are so challenging for the brain because you have to mix both precision and accuracy with speed, right? You have to be able to do it fast, and it's very tiny, and it's so unfamiliar to your body and what it's used to doing in nature, right? Throwing a spear, digging a hole, right? Punching an opponent in the face, whatever we did back then, right? But that's, and then you have to develop something as delicate as playing guitar. But the key point here is to mix the two and to be very aware of the fact that if it's something you need to remember, you need spaced repetitions. If it's something you need to develop, a skill, like a motorical skill, you need spaced repetitions, but that's not the focus. The focus is intensity. Short periods of time, whether it be a week, if you look at a year or a month, you have 1 week where you practice that one thing really to excessiveness, right? That is intensity over a month. And over the week, where you're practicing like, you have 1 day, like Saturday or Sunday or both days, where you practice excessively, right? So you can look, it depends on your perspective. In a given year, you might have 3 months where you practice a lot more than you would any other because you have so much focus on just one thing those months, right? And then you go back to right? So it depends on your perspective. In 1 day, you might say, okay, I'm practicing in the morning, a little in the middle of the day, but then when I come home from work, I practice intensively, right? So you got intensity on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis. And when you don't have that intensity, you are committed to staying consistent in your practice regimen, because that also sends a signal to the brain that we need to do this every day. This is our life now. This is my identity. This is what I do. So you better become good at it, because otherwise you're going to use up a lot of resources on doing something and wasting resources basically on making it happen, instead of just making me a master of it, which makes everything easy and makes the brain use as little resources as possible on the task of playing music. So I hope that was valuable to you. Go sign up for our free courses on alternate picking and sweep picking down here. And I hope to see you in the next video. Subscribe for more free videos. Do it. Do it now. Do it.